baby. I wasn't planning to say it. I swear, I walked into that room with every intention of keeping you to myself, of letting your name remain locked in the part of my chest where I keep the sacred things. I've carried you in silence for so long now, not because I was ashamed, not because I didn't want the world to know, but because some truths are so raw, so holy, so intertwined with the deepest pieces of us, that saying them out loud feels like stripping your soul bare in a room full of people who could never understand what they're hearing. But something shifted, something cracked, and before I could stop it, before I could build my usual wall of half smiles and distraction, I said your name out loud in front of the people who thought they knew me, and not just your name, baby. I told them who you are to me. I told them you are the reason I haven't been sleeping, that your voice lives in the quiet corners of my day, playing on repeat like a song I never want to end. I told them that no matter how much I try to focus on the present, on work, on the noise of everyday life, my mind always drifts back to you, softly, uncontrollably, like a prayer whispered under my breath. I told them that there's a woman who moved through my world like a storm wrapped in silk, who didn't just touch my heart, but rewired it, who didn't just love me, but revealed me to myself. I told them that no matter what anyone says, no matter what logic tries to explain away, you are my person, my heart, my unfinished sentence, my favorite ache. And baby, when I said it, when the words finally left my mouth, I swear something broke open inside me. Something ancient, something buried. Like I'd been holding my breath for years and didn't even realize it. It wasn't just a confession. It was a release, a reckoning, a surrender. And I didn't care who heard it. I didn't care what their faces did when I said, I still feel you in everything. Because I wasn't speaking for them. I was speaking for me. For the version of me that's been walking around pretending to be whole while bleeding quietly from a place only you ever touched. And when they looked at me, confused, surprised, some even a little amused, I just sat there, still, calm, undeniably certain. Because for the first time in a long time, I wasn't lying, I wasn't masking, I wasn't deflecting. I was telling the truth about the most sacred thing I've ever known. You. I told them how you looked at me once, like I was worth the mess. How you held my silence with the kind of patience that felt like forgiveness. How you made me believe that love didn't have to be loud to be eternal. That it could exist in glances, in stillness, in shared breath. And baby, the moment I told them, I felt something shift in the air, like the universe had been waiting for me to finally say it. I told them that even if we're not speaking right now, even if the world has placed mountains between us, I've never stopped feeling you, that I still hear you when I'm alone, that I still see you in places you've never been, that I still reach for you in dreams and wake up clutching the echo of your name. I told them that you're not just a woman from my past, you're the pulse of my present, the blueprint of my healing, the reminder that real love never goes away. It just changes shape, shifts timelines, bends through dimensions if it has to. I said all of it, every aching truth I've been too afraid to admit. And baby, I meant every word, because if I'm going to be known, if I'm going to let people see even a glimpse of the real me, then they need to know about you. They need to know that the strongest, softest, most soul-shaking love I've ever felt wasn't something I read in a book or saw in a movie. It was you, in your presence, in your silence, in your existence. I told them you're the woman who made me want to become a better man. Not for approval, not for applause, but because you awakened something in me that I didn't know was sleeping. A desire to be worthy, to be steady, to be safe, to be something real in a world full of fleeting. I told them that even when I was quiet, even when I seemed distracted, even when I pushed you away, I was always loving you, always holding you in places no one else could see. Because how could I not? How could I not love the one person who felt like a mirror to my soul? And maybe they didn't understand. Maybe they nodded politely and moved on to the next topic. But baby, I don't care, because I said it. I honored you. I spoke your name like a prayer in front of people who needed to know that not all love stories fit neatly into timelines or expectations. Some love stories are spiritual, some are sacred, some are never really over. I wanted you to know this, because I think part of you still wonders, still questions, if I ever felt as deeply as you did. Still aches in silence, unsure if I ever saw what you were offering. So let me say it clearly, with no hesitation and no armor. I see you. I always have, and now the people closest to me know it too. They know that you're not just someone I once knew. You're the one I'll always carry. You're the soul I recognized before my mind could make sense of it. You're the love I'll never try to replace. Because to me, you're not just a chapter. You're the story, the truth, the secret that was never meant to stay hidden. After I said it, after your name left my lips like a truth that had been dying to breathe, the room went still, not uncomfortable, not cold, but stunned, like they felt something holy pass through. No one laughed, no one made jokes, no one dismissed me the way I had feared they would. They just looked at me, and in that silence I realized something powerful. Sometimes the world knows when a truth is sacred. And when I told them that you were more than just someone I loved, that you were the woman who changed my life in a way I can't even explain, they felt it. Maybe not fully, maybe not the way I feel it, but they knew I wasn't talking about just any woman. They knew I was talking about the woman. My mother looked at me with the kind of softness she only shows when she knows I'm breaking and finally brave enough to admit it. She didn't interrupt me. She just let me talk. I told her everything. That I never stopped loving you. That I never truly let you go. That there are days I wake up and swear I hear your voice, even though I haven't heard it in months. I told her that when I try to picture my future, your silhouette always appears, sometimes just in the background, sometimes center stage, but always there, always present, always tethered to the core of my being in a way I've never been able to explain to anyone until now. And you know what she said? She said, "That's what real love feels like. It doesn't fade. It just finds new ways to remind you it's still alive. I wanted to break when I heard that, because baby, that's exactly what you are to me. Alive. You live in my thoughts, in my decisions, in the way I move through the world, in the music I can't listen to without thinking of you, in the way I react when someone says something that reminds me of something you once whispered in the dark. You're in everything. You've been the rhythm beneath my silence, and for the first time, I let them see it. My brother tried to understand, but I could tell he didn't know how to ask the questions he wanted to ask. He just said, "She must have been something else." And all I could do was nod, because how do you explain a soul connection to someone who's never felt one? How do I make them understand that you weren't just someone I dated, someone I liked, someone I was attached to? You were the collision, the awakening, the lesson and the home, the mirror and the muse, the fire and the calm. You were the moment where everything changed for me, whether the world realized it or not. And baby, as I sat there talking about you, talking about your kindness, your fire, your silence that speaks louder than most people's noise, I felt something I haven't felt in a long time. Peace. Because saying your name wasn't just a confession, it was a form of healing. I didn't know how much I needed to speak you into the room. I didn't realize how much weight I'd been carrying by keeping you locked in my heart like a secret I was ashamed to love. But I'm not ashamed anymore. I'm proud. Because loving you was the bravest, most beautiful thing I've ever done. And telling them about you, that was my way of honoring it. They asked me if I'd ever tell you, if I'd ever reach out, if I'd ever try again. And baby, I didn't have an answer, 'cause my heart screams yes, every single day. But my fear whispers, what if she's moved on? What if your world no longer has space for the man who didn't know how to show up before? What if someone else already speaks your name with the reverence I now carry? What if you've learned how to breathe without me? But even with those fears, even with that ache lodged in my throat like a prayer I'm too afraid to speak, I still said this to them. Even if she never hears from me again, I needed the people closest to me to know that she was it, that I met the kind of love most people only read about, that I felt it, I lived it, I ruined it, I mourned it, and I still carry it like a gift I wasn't worthy of, but was blessed enough to hold anyway. And they understood. They really did. They didn't need every detail. They didn't need every memory. They just needed to see how my voice changed when I spoke about you. And baby, my voice did change. It softened. It cracked. It trembled. Because when I talk about you, I don't talk about regret. I talk about reverence. There's a difference. I don't look at you as the one that got away. I look at you as the one that came in and rewrote the entire language of love for me. You didn't just pass through. You stayed. Not physically, but energetically, eternally. And now that I've spoken your name out loud, now that I've let my family know the depth of what you were to me, I feel lighter. I feel seen. I feel like I've finally stopped hiding the most honest part of my story. You are that part, baby. You always were. You still are. And maybe you'll never know what it felt like to sit in that room and finally honor you out loud. Maybe you'll never hear the way my voice broke when I said, "She's still the one." Maybe you'll never know how many times I replayed that conversation in my mind afterward, wishing I could have said more, wishing you could have heard it too. But I hope you feel it somewhere in your bones. I hope you wake up one morning with no idea why your heart feels full and your breath feels steadier. I hope your soul receives the energy of a man finally admitting the truth that his pride and fear kept locked away for too long. I hope you feel the ripple of love still moving toward you, even from a distance. Because, baby, I may not know where this story goes, but I do know this. You are not just a chapter. You are not just a memory. You are the sentence that made the entire book worth reading. You are the truth I finally stopped hiding. You are the name I said with shaking hands and a full heart. You are the woman I finally told my family about, not as a past love, but as my soul's eternal recognition. And in doing so, I didn't just honor you. I honored myself, the part of me that still believes in love that never dies, the part of me that still listens for your echo in every quiet room, the part of me that is, and always will be, yours. Baby, something shifted inside me after that conversation. It was as if years of silence, years of unspoken love, buried memories, late-night ache, and quiet longing had finally found their voice. Not through poetry, not through writing, not even through tears behind closed doors, but through a simple moment of truth, spoken aloud in front of people who've known me my entire life, and yet never knew this part of me existed. And maybe that's the part that hits the hardest, that I've carried you alone for so long, that the world has seen me laugh, work, live, while I held your presence like a secret, sacred relic pressed to my chest. But that night, baby, I let the world see it. See you, the version of you that lives inside me. It wasn't easy. I didn't plan to open that door. I had every intention of protecting the one part of me that still felt untouched by the noise of life. But as they sat there, talking about relationships, talking about who I used to be, and why I've grown so distant lately, your name just rose up. It came from the softest part of me, the part that still feels everything, the part that has never stopped whispering your name in the dark. And once it came out, I couldn't hold anything back. I told them what you are to me. Not just what you were, but what you still are. I told them that I don't look at love the same way anymore, that after you, everything changed, that you weren't just a feeling, you were a spiritual experience, a shift, a divine appointment, that you walked into my life and made me believe in connection that doesn't ask for proof,